You also had you wanted me to talk about job negotiation skills,
Yes.
influenced by law, although, and so what did that actually mean when you talk about negotiation?
Well, what I wanted to bring up is something that I have not spoken about in the 5 or so years that I've been doing work with the job seeking community, is really sort of how I got into the world of negotiations. Because most of what we do has to do with I want something, I need something, I contact you, you're in a position where you're selling it, or you know somebody who is, you're brokering it. And we need to learn how to be better negotiators. And that's a ton of what I do in what I call legal consultation, right? We do litigation, but most of the time it's people coming in saying, I'm about to get fired. I went on a PIP. I have been fired and I have to deal with this crazy non compete. I'm going to the next job. How do I deal with this, that? So, in the middle of my legal career, I had the fortune of working with a professor from Harvard named Roger Fisher. And many of you on the call may remember him from his books. Getting to Yes is probably the best known. He co published it with a much younger teacher at Harvard named Bill Urey. And I was able to actually study with both of them. This is interest based bargaining that's based on game theory.
Hmm.
And what it basically says is 95% of the work that you're doing in the negotiation happens away from the table. Don't even sit down with the person on the other side or the other team until you figure out for yourself, what do I want? And most importantly, why do I want it? If you ask people, why did you get that car? Why did you quit that job? Why this, why that? They're like, I haven't really thought about it. It was just time and I liked the color and I needed more time off. But if you're in a major negotiation, you're going to want to be able to answer the why. And so you figure out your own interests, and they're going to be multiple. It could be money, it could be culture, it could be respect, it could be growth, it could be many things. You
Hmm.
also want to sit down for yourself and figure out what's their interest in this negotiation. What do they want out of this in the same way? And then you have to develop your options. I could do this with them. I could do that. Just list them all, brainstorm. My wife, who I love dearly, is a terrible brainstormer. As soon as she says, let's figure out we want to go on vacation, and I say, what about the mountain? She's like, that's a terrible idea. Okay, that's not good brainstorming. Brainstorming is anything you think of, you write it down and you go, maybe that's it, or maybe that's it. And you can sit down with somebody else and actually work through what could be a great way to deal with that. And you also brainstorm for the other team, even though they're not there. And what you're doing is you, you're trying to develop a mindset of what are the triggers? What are the things that are going to move the negotiation more positively or negatively? A very important thing, especially in the job negotiation world. And we're always negotiating about everything, right? Look elsewhere for what you're asking. Why? Because if you can get the same or a better deal elsewhere, your power in this negotiation, my friends, has just gone stratospheric. If you find out you can't, because this is the best you can do, you better know that, right? We don't do this based on personalities. We don't say, I'm going to that doctor whose resume is very unimpressive because I like her. You're going to say, I want the person who could do the best job, which means you might actually need to work for somebody you're not totally thrilled with if it otherwise meets the things that you need. If that's the top thing you need, then you're not going there. But this is what allows you to do that. So Fisher and Urey taught that you make your choices on the merits, right? It's not personal. You want to be soft when you negotiate with people, not yell, scream, carry on, bang your shoe on the table, but you want to be rock hard on the merits. So here's a good example. Fisher used to say, one of his students wanted to buy a house in Cambridge, and the student did everything I just said, everything. And he goes to the seller, or wasn't a seller, knocks on the door, says, I'd like to buy your house. Guy says, it's not for sale. Well, I've done the market research and here's what it's worth. And the guy's like, that's what it's worth. I want twice that. And the guy says, well, why? The kid says, why do you want that? He goes, because I want it. So he leaves. He goes to Fisher. He says, Fisher, help me out. They go knock on the guy's door, and the guy says, I will not take a penny under $1 million. Fisher says, but my student here proved that it's only worth $750. Guy says, all right, $9.99, $9.99. Fisher goes, I now understand the bargain. We offer $1. Because if that's the game we're playing, if it's unmoored to the marketplace, my dumb idea is no worse than your dumb idea. But this is the kind of thing that you need to think through and really develop that strong sense. And the strongest negotiator, I wrote a note to you about that, Ken, but I didn't tell you who it was.
Okay.
The strongest negotiator in any negotiation is the one who doesn't really need the thing being negotiated. They're in absolutely the best position. Banks are throwing money at rich people. But if you're a bag man or a bag lady going into the bank, they will escort you out. You're not, even though you need it more, because you're a bigger risk. It's the one who poses no risk. And so I say to people in the job search, look at all those pieces. Don't be afraid to try it. Go out, ask, test it. Go on these like opportunity interviews. Get your entire world view mapped out, and then you're ready to actually do the negotiation. Now, there's another side to it. Not everything is negotiable, right? Fisher used to say, don't go up to a Coke machine and say, I only want to pay $1. You're not getting the soda. You have to put in the full amount. That's not negotiable. So you have to know that too. I'm not offering pie in the sky. I'm saying open your mind and realize there's more to it than you might have thought. And it's only in the thinking process that you will actually be able to access that.